Mall Santas of Reddit, what is the weirdest thing a kid asked for Christmas? After waiting 2 hours in line, my daughter asked Santa for a hot dog. Many years ago, a small girl would not tell her mother what she wanted for Christmas. Mom told me the problem, and I was to tell her after the kid jumped off my lap. The little girl hopped up and told me she wanted some makeup and some tits. Okay, now I have to tell mom. My uncle was a Santa, and he told me that one year a kid asked for a coffee maker because he wanted to start his own Starbucks coffee stand instead of a lemonade stand. Apparently business was not very good as a lemonade stand, but he noticed a lot of adults drink coffee, so he'd make coffee. That kid is probably a millionaire now. I know the weirdest thing I asked for was a pen that could write like a pen, pencil, marker, and crayon. I'd never seen one, but was sure Santa could make it. I got a 4-color pen instead. Was a Santa at a party last week. A kid asked for a whistle that she could blow at night to wake her mom up and scare her when she was sleeping. I said no, that would put you on the naughty list. Let your mom sleep, you little gremlin. Mom laughed. Not the weirdest, but my favorite thing I have heard a kid ask for. At my daughter's preschool, there was a Santa. Kids were asking for the usual things, like toys and unicorns. One little girl goes up. You can tell she is thinking really hard. She asks for 2 rolls of tape. Dream big, kid. When I was 5 years old, 49 years ago, I asked a Santa in JCPenney's at the time for a real lawn mower, the kind that my dad uses. They had me hold a microphone up to my mouth. My answer, along with every other kid, I presume, was broadcast throughout the whole store. I can still hear the laughter from the adults. My kid asked Santa for Thor's hammer. Christmas morning, he opens up Thor's hammer. So happy. First thing he did was chuck it across the living room and into the kitchen. Dishes smash, glass all over the floor. Kid was freaking pissed it didn't come back to him. The look on his face, pure Christmas devastation. My brother asked for Minecraft once. Pretty innocent, only the Santa misheard him. He thought he said Mein Kampf. Reindeer eggs so he could start his own franchise. I'm a teacher. I had one of my most difficult, obstinate, button pusher kids come in at recess to talk to me. He said he was worried he would not get what he really wanted, to be a real elf, move to the North Pole and make all the presents. He had tears in his eyes and was the most sincere I had ever seen. Made me really appreciate how hard life was at home. He just wished for a way out. I was an assistant manager for a mall Santa with no air programs. There was a special needs 20-something black guy that would come by nearly every day. He easily weighed more than 250 pounds, so we did eventually convince him to sit next to Santa instead of on his lap. Every time, he had to remind Santa what he wanted for Christmas. His list was Home Alone on DVD, Straight Outta Compton on DVD, and Prince's 1999 album on CD. Santa was awesome and brought him the Prince CD a few days before Christmas. Not a Santa, but I have been a Mrs. Claus for the last few years, and I always ask the kids what they want while we do our crafts. My favorite was this 4 to 5-year-old girl that told me she wanted one of those loud horns. She made a gesture like she was using those canned air horns, and she made a little horn sound. She said she wants to use it to wake up her baby brother when he naps in the daytime so he knows what it's like. I was a Santa in 1997 for a small, authentic Old West village. I was 17 at the time and doing some local theater, and the costume lady was asked to find someone to be Santa for the weekend. She told me she thought of me because, well, you're not fat, but you're big. I'm 6 feet 6 inches or 1 meter 98 centimeters. So I put on a cheap costume that didn't fit well, and the beard smelled like the last Santa threw up in it, and I waited in a prop shed in the plaza that was normally a sheriff office or something. Tall, skinny, smelly Santa in a shed sitting on a plastic lawn chair. It was no wonder all the children screamed when they were put on my lap. None of them asked for anything, in fact, as they were too busy being scared of me. I had a pair of girls and later a pair of guys from the local Christian high school dressed as elves on the first day to take Polaroids and collect money. On the second day they flaked, and I was by myself all day. I charged people money to enter my creepy shed and take pictures of their own kids, except for one young lady who was probably older than me and severely mentally disabled. Her parents were so apologetic because she was too old, but she sat on my lap and smiled at me with total naked joy. I can still see her face 20 years later. When he was feeling better, my father-in-law looked just like a real Santa. I used to mess with him around Christmas when we were out and about with a quick Rudolph needs to get back to the pole, we need to hurry. I got a lot of really great looks from kids. The best was a shy little girl that came up and asked for some specific doll. Without missing a beat he says, I'm not sure what the heck that is, but I'll have Legolas look into it. He always acted grumpy about, but we all know he loved every second. Not a mall Santa, but once my sister asked Santa if she could have a horse's head and an ice cream cone. She explained that she was going to paint the ice cream cone the color of the horse, stick it on, mount the horse's head to the wall and tell her friends she killed a unicorn. She doesn't remember. I once asked for bread with no crust. Come Christmas Day, I actually got an entire loaf of bread with no crust. My 3-year-old son asked Santa once for a baby rhino. Santa told him that the baby rhino's mama would be very sad to lose her baby though. Then my son said, "Okay, well I'll take the mama too, maybe she can sleep in my mom's bed." There was a joke a radio host told that I heard about 10 years ago or so, and there was a mall Santa and this kid. And the kid wanted a Tonka truck that had a hitch or crane/hook or something. And when it comes time to tell Santa what he wants, the kid says, "I want a truck with a hooker." When I was a kid, I asked for a Komodo dragon. Not a Santa, not even an elf, but my older sister is an elf this year, and a 6-year-old boy said that he just wanted Man United to win the league. What's best is that the Santa said, "I can't work miracles now, kid." Yesterday, the big sister asked for a pet mouse, the little sister asked for a snake. I was the kid, didn't ask for anything, but I have a relevant story. When I was like 5, we went to see Santa. This Santa just happened to be an ass. My sly 5-year-old self slipped him €5 and told him to give me better presents than my brothers. He took the money. I told my dad a while later. He kept the €5. 5-year-old me was devastated to hear that was one of Santa's helpers and not the real one. During college, I was a department store Santa. One little girl, with her mother looking on at a distance, whispered, "Please bring a boyfriend for mommy. Ever since daddy died, she's been so lonely. That's what I really want for Christmas, Santa." I looked up at her loving mother, and back at the girl, and felt a lump in my throat. So literally last night we took my kids to see Santa, and when asked what she wants for Christmas she says, "A surprise." Santa was so surprised he didn't know what to say. Not a Santa, but an elf. I read a letter, maybe I shouldn't have, from a child who asked for a dolphin, specifically not autistic. Not sure if he had had a bad experience with disabled dolphins or what, but he was about 6 years old. Obligatory not me, but about one of my really good friends who is a lumberjack of a man. 6'4", 250 plus pounds, giant beard type of man. He got a Christmas crop top sweater, so his entire stomach was out, got hammered, went to the mall and asked Santa for a fifth of whiskey and some bad bitches lol. The video circulates a little more each year, but it makes me laugh every time because the Santa has no idea how to react. I once asked Santa for my parents to get a divorce. I'm not a mall Santa, but I heard this kid say, "Sex doll." You should have seen his parents' face. My 9-year-old kid asked for light bulbs. I am sure Santa wasn't expecting that. Not Santa. My kid, when he was younger, had a habit of visiting Santa once to ask for gifts, and then a few more times during the season just to say hi. "Mom, can I see Santa? There's no kids over there, and he looks lonely, so I could hang out with him." Santa came to daycare. I didn't ask him for presents, I just reminded him that I was good this year. Worked as an elf for a couple of years, and we had this wish jar that you could put slips of paper in. A little girl wrote something down on a piece of paper and folded it and quietly slipped it into the jar. The mom came rushing back after they left, asking if we could get the paper out of the jar for her. She unfolded it and in crayon it said, "I want Dad to come home." The mother started crying and took it with her. Got some other weird and sad ones, but that one hit me right in the feels. I'm not a mall Santa, I'm the thing that the kid asked for. My sister asked for a sibling. 9 months later, she got her gift, me. She should have asked for a different gift. Not technically a mall Santa, but my neighbor was a Santa for a community brunch years ago and a little girl asked for a cheeseburger. Not that odd on its own I suppose, but an odd request for the holiday and from such an important and magical being. I once had a boy who said he wanted to be married and have 100 kids, so he could have 100 friends, and no one can say no to being his friend. Okay, one time I asked for coal. I didn't know where to get some. We had a gas fireplace. I wanted it in order to make a face on a snowman. When I was a little kid, about 3 to 4 years old, I told a mall Santa that I wanted blue juice for Christmas. The Santa looked at my mom like, "WTF does he mean by this?" and my mom was just as clueless as he was. My mom, being awesome, went out and got Hugs juice, and only gave me the blue ones on Christmas. To this day, I have no clue why I wanted the blue juice. I just knew I wanted it, so that's what I told Santa. You bet your ass that I drank every last one of those things. We celebrate Christmas Eve with a large family gathering, traditional Polish food, and Santa. Either an uncle or unknown neighbor gets the honors. Drunk uncles and cousins end up on the roof. There have been injuries, making reindeer stomping noises, and the young kids really get excited. I'm mid-50s and this has been a tradition well before I was born. I have a ton of stories about Santa on Christmas Eve. One of the most memorable a few years ago when one of my cousin's kids played Santa. His girlfriend went up to sit on Santa's lap and get her gift. She didn't know it was him at first. The gift she opened was her ring, and he proposed. It was really sweet, but it took her forever to say yes. I thought for a few minutes she was going to say no. In front of his entire extended family. So Santa got his wish this time. Another cousin ended up becoming a professional Santa, real beard and all. He is the official Santa of some major Christmas events in our area and is on local TV and radio. Off topic. Sorry, I just love the fact this is my family member. He's an Uber driver as well and drives in full Santa garb during the holidays. I love my family.